Well, it's lovely to see you both today, Mr. Chairman, sir, and I think he's now Mr. Vice Chairman as well, Fraser.
Indeed, yes.
When did this all happen?
I suppose, having been on the board now for 18 months or so, we've been working away at things, and I'd always kind of been interested at some point in time maybe being able to acquire some shares in the club, just to put my money where my mouth is, and show that it's not all talk and that we're working hard and that I'm as committed to it as anybody else. And when I managed to acquire part of a shareholding from Lachlan, that was brilliant. So that came to fruition just in the latter part of last month, and at that point in time the chairman turned around to me and asked me and invited me to take up the role as vice chair, and I gratefully accepted.
So now you're the second largest shareholder in the club as well.
Yeah. It's exciting, a bit nerve-wracking, I suppose. Yeah, genuinely have to put my money where my mouth is now and back this man up to in financial terms as well. But yeah, listen, it's great for me because I've got a long history with the club, and my dad obviously was chairman here before, and it's been a passion of mine since. I don't know what age, but very young age, and to be able to actually fulfil a role in helping the football club move forwards is fantastic, and to be invited to take up the role as vice chairman is just an honour. So,
I was looking back at some of the stuff that you'd said to us when we interviewed you when you joined the board. I think that was May 2021.
It was, yeah.
And you were talking about your friendship with the chairman here himself, and I was reading newspapers last night, and they were saying about you both discovering your love for Ayr United. Then you started talking. You would stand at matches when you guys were coaching, and you've had a plan since those days.
Yeah, I'm not sure the original plan was one which would would want to rely too heavily on, because it was made in the very early hours of a morning on a dad's team night out.
I've still got the beer mat.
Have you got the beer? Yeah, that's quite impressive. Yeah. But from there, I mean, we found out, we didn't realise at the time initially that we were both big Ayr United fans, and then through our boys both playing football together. Then on that night out we discovered it and started having a chat about it, and I didn't realise that you were such a big United fan. Yeah, I've done this for that and the next thing, and it would be brilliant if we could do this and if we could do that, and we could see it really, we could see things happening with the club, and that was just our passion just coming out after a couple of aperitifs on a night out, and I don't think either of us genuinely believed that it would happen so quickly, and it's just through the chairman's good fortune to be in the right place at the right time and have the passion and the ability and the wherewithal to take on a role at the club, initially at the invitation of Lachlan, and then and thereafter to take over as chairman and to move the club forwards. And at that point in time he gave me a call and he said, listen, would you like to get involved, as we talked about, and neither of us really expected it to happen as quickly as it has done, but that's how it's been, and from there the plan grew, and we discussed it and we discussed it and discussed it, as you do with any good plan. You reassess continually and adapt, and we've done that alongside the other members of the board and the great sort of team of staff that we've had here, that have been at the club for a long time, and a number of people that have joined the club in more recent times. That plan is continually evolving, and we're working on it all the time, and it's great to just see it making a bit of progress and really come to fruition like that.
I was interested, again, in a press article, you saying, I'm not a yes man.
No, it's not.
Is this important in the balance?
Do you know what? Sorry, it is important, because that doesn't work. So we have good debate at our board meetings. We've invented a catchphrase if somebody steps out of order. But you know, see our board's really dynamic. So you know, myself and Fraser, you know about us, but you know, Graham Matthew is fantastic. He's a football guy, and we needed him badly in this football club, and he's fulfilled everything we wanted and more. He's just brilliant. But you know, we can't discount you know, what Willie Houston and Alan Murray bring to our board. So they bring a whole load of Ayr United history and experience, and that's really, really important. So you know, history is important at a football club. So when we talk about stuff, they've got reference points that have happened in the past and say, well, we did this before and this is what we did and it wasn't the right way and we moved it. So it's a really dynamic board that we have, and I think we talk about infrastructure a lot, and you know, Fraser taking up the role as vice chair is just another part of that infrastructure. You know, whether it's people infrastructure or buildings and fabric and stuff like that, doesn't really matter, but the infrastructure of the football club's night and day compared to where it was 4 or 5 years ago, but having a vice chair is really important.
Just dragging back to something you said, Fraser, to me, I think in our first ever interview, it was that working in the board has to be a really active board. It can't just be one that sits there and sends out orders. You all have to be working at the time. Have you achieved that just now? Have you managed to get that with this board?
I think we have. I think the chairman was very clear when he took over at the club that anybody who was joining the board would have to be able to fulfil a function which wasn't already necessarily being fulfilled. There was going to be no passengers on the board, there wasn't room for that, and as such everybody really had to bring with them a skill set or an ability to add to what we already have at the club. And I think every member of the board plays a significant part in trying to make the club a success and take it forwards in the way which we've worked on and we've planned for. I genuinely believe that it's important that everybody is active and everybody sits around the boardroom table and is very comprehensive in their debate, and we talk things through and we agree action points, and everybody gets assigned whatever it is that they've got to take up in action, and from that we get hopefully the results that the entire community are looking for from us as a football club and representing the town of Ayr.
Now, just while I've got you here, I just thought I'd ask the question, what's been the best thing that's happened since you took over as chairman for the club?
Oh, top of the league. Top of the league, and just probably two things. Top of the league's amazed because we didn't really expect to be there, and probably the other thing, this will sound a bit strange, was walking in here on a Tuesday when we had Ayr United memories going on and the place was rammed, and there was a couple of older players way before my time even, and the look on everybody's face was just a delight, to be honest. So there was nursing homes in, there was loads of people and families in, and it was just kind of got me that day actually to say, yep, that's what we wanted. So football on side is great, the community side just makes you feel good. You know you're doing the right thing.
So your investment in getting the hub in the first place has really shown benefits.
This is a great space. It's a great space to have, and it's a great space for the community to use during the day. So there's lots and lots of good points about the hub, and it's not just about having a pint on a Saturday before a game. So I think we're all delighted, and do you know what? We come up with more and more ideas to use the place all the time. So it was important to have that base. So.
I think that's one of the things that was on the original back of the beer mat plan that we talked about, is that there needs to be other substantial sources of revenue for any business, and the football club needs to be run like a business because it has to be self-sustaining. It cannot be at the mercy of a benefactor who just continually tops up the bank account and puts in the money to cover the losses year in, year out, because with the best will in the world, that's great whilst the benefactor is around. But if something should happen to that benefactor and their family, for whatever reason, decide that that's not what we want to spend the money on anymore, then all of a sudden the entire existence of the club or that business is at risk. So we were quite passionate that we needed to make sure that we run the club in an effective business-like fashion. It has to be self-sustaining, it has to be able to develop other revenue sources out with just the match day experience. And that is where the plans for having a hub and a space like this, which is a social space, to be used by the fans, but also by the community, by other groups, for parties, for events, for functions, because these are the things that help to bring in revenue when we don't have a match day going on. And we need those forms of revenue to help put money in the till, to make the club sustainable, and to allow us to put a better playing squad budget together. So it then becomes self-fulfilling. The more money that we generate, the more revenues that we bring in, the better the business runs, the more money that we've got to actually invest in a playing squad, which hopefully can take us to higher and better levels.
Two things. You said the hub, you've talked about the new stand that's going to be there. I think everyone who's an Ayr United fan is so excited about that coming. But things don't stop Ayr United. I mean, probably people can hear in this interview, outside there just now, the car park is being turned into a more professional looking car.
It's just some maintenance. Yeah, it's just a bit of maintenance.
Just maintenance, right. Because people see that when they come in, and it gives a view on it, but a lot that's going around the club means to players as well when they come, this looks good.
Do you know, I think I run a business, you run a business, infrastructure is really important. So if you want good people to come and work for you, you have to have the right surroundings, you've got to have, you've just got to have the right place for them to do their work and be creative and be productive. So it's really important to do all that stuff. Can't do it all in one day, but in the last couple of years, having the hub, doing the car park, you know, even just a thing like, you know, we get the new minibus last week, so that's another big step forward, because the old one, I don't know how old the old one was, but you know, it's causing lots and lots of problems, and these things don't seem like an awful lot, but they all add up. So, you know, the footballing side of the business is really happy because we've listened to them and we've got them a new minibus and we've got them some equipment, you know, and we'll continue to top up different departments, and the club as and when we've got some money. But I think the infrastructure part is incredibly important to any business, and if you want to attract good people and talented people to your business, you've got to have the right place to start.
Now, going back to the reasoning behind this little interview today, your vice chairman, what does he bring to your ideas of the club, and what does he bring to the club in general?
Honest answer. Probably starting point is commitment. So Fraser's commitment since he joined the board has been huge. His energy is fantastic as well, and what's been great is, you know, he's from a hospitality background, so he has taken, you know, I can build this stuff, but I don't know how to run it. My wife was worried about me drinking in it, to be honest, when I built it, but
so was I.
But Fraser knows this stuff inside out, so that's great. He's taken the hospitality on across in the North Terrace as well, and that's been brilliant as well. But his business is more like a football club than mine, to be quite honest. So a building business and developing, it's all kind of long-term stuff. We don't deal with cash and things like that, whereas Fraser's business is used to that kind of, you know, not knowing how many people are going to be in your club or pub, not knowing how many people are going to be at your stadium. So his business is more similar to that than mine. So he's kind of taken that on board, as well as the hospitality and looking at the cash flow. He's a bit of a spreadsheet geek as well, which is good. So that stuff's been brilliant. But what I would say is, so commitment in terms of time and effort, but actually he has put his money where his mouth is, and he is the second biggest shareholder in the football club, and actually having that should give the fans and everybody a little bit of security going forward. But it's a long haul thing for us. I know we're doing a lot. That will peter out at a point in time when we haven't got the money to do that stuff, but enjoy it while it's happening and all the changes are happening, and it's all positive.